Um, so with WootRecruit, we are not just a software. You're buying an operating system. You're buying a process for your company. An example of buying a software is like if I buy Keep or High Level, it's completely empty. There's nothing in it. I have to create all the automations, all the flows, all the copy, all the verbiage. Um, this is not that. This is already done for you in every way that you can imagine. Um, so what we are great at is processes. So we're powered by technology, but again, you're buying a process. Our like unique ability, our thing that we're known for is our processes, and they all come from me. And so you don't need a process. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm not ready yet because I have to work on my interview process, my interview flow. How do I interview? My interview questions. I teach you all of that inside of WootRecruit. So you don't need anything because we're going to give you everything you need when it comes to recruiting. Even handbooks, examples of a PIP plan. I have built out everything you could possibly imagine that you would need for recruiting. So you could think of WootRecruit like a central hub, and we're going to connect things to create the most powerful recruiting process that you've ever seen. That it literally works like the Uber but of hiring. If I turn it on, I have applicants at my door. If I turn it off, like they stop. So these are all the things that we integrate with to create what is known as the WootRecruit process. We directly integrate with Indeed. We are using Indeed to source applicants. We integrate with Indeed, and once we do that, they give us a different side to use for budgeting, which we have a little bit more control over the cost of what we're spending on when it comes to Indeed. We use High Level for some funnel pages and career sites. We use HubSpot for data because we deliver you a report every week on your recruiting. Twilio, because we know no applicants look at their emails. And so we guide them through a text journey when it comes to recruiting and applying. Google Workspace and some other things. When you go with our Sherpa plan, which is our grow plan, you get a biweekly call with your account manager, and that's through Google Meet. We give you a Google Drive with tons of HR documents. And then we have some ChatGPT extras, but I don't recommend them because it still hallucinates. And then if you want, you can also integrate with Facebook. And the way we do that is, let's just say somebody applies for your job and they don't finish the application. There's a high percentage of people that like apply, start it, but then their phone rings, the kid cries, they're at work, something happens, and they don't finish. They dropped off somewhere. With Facebook, we can use a recruiting pixel. We call it a recruiting pixel that we put on the back of your careers page. So if they fell off anywhere in the process, they will be retargeted by Facebook at a very low cost to like jump back in that process. And it's kind of like retargeting. They talk about in marketing, but we're doing it with recruiting. Because typically, every time we need to source people, it's like go back to Indeed, go back to Indeed. Everything I've done, even though we integrate with Indeed, is so that we don't have to go back to Indeed. So within the WootRecruit platform, we're collecting all your applications, and there is actually a bench section, so you can start building that bench. There is a way to re-engage all the past applicants, all the applicants that have passed like the application process but haven't scheduled an interview yet. That way we don't have to go back to Indeed every 5 seconds if you don't have to. The goal is long term is that we can stand on our own. And that's why we've integrated with Facebook. That is additional, I think, $100 one-time fee, is that let's retarget those people and get them to come back or finish the application process. But you don't have to do any of those things with the software. You just have to log into the one WootRecruit hub. We set up all of the processes.
Yeah, and I don't think I've emphasized.
Sorry, we've set up all of the processes and done all the work. And all we need you to do is interview. That's all we need everyone to commit to do is interviewing. We prefer in person, but we also do have the ability to do Zoom or Google Meet interviews. So you can do virtual interviews because we know the world is going more and more virtual. People who use WootRecruit save 50% of time and or money when it comes to their recruiting. An example is this, like I was doing a demo with a lawn care gentleman and he's like, oh, well, we do our own. I was like, okay, well, explain your process. He goes, okay, I put an ad up on Indeed. 3 days later, we check it and we had 72 applicants. And it took my office manager 8 hours to call all 72 people and set up interviews. I said, how much do you pay her an hour? Well, he wouldn't tell me. Um, and then only 8 people agreed out of the 72 to do an interview, and only 3 people showed up for the interview.
That's a waste of
And
time and money.
that's a waste of time and money. And that's what I'm trying to teach everyone is there's a place for automations and technology, and then there's a place for us to come into. So let's let, and
I saw the
was a
math
cleaner.
falling apart when you said 72. I was like, yeah, no.
Yeah. And they're old because they're 3 days old. Great candidates only on the market for about 6 to 7 days. So they're already old. So whatever money you posted, Indeed, you've wasted. He goes, oh, I advertise organically. Okay, said, okay, but the 8 hours it took her to just schedule the interviews and call the people, you've wasted. So it's a mindset shift from old type of recruiting to more of a non-traditional way of recruiting. People who use us are about 40% faster to hire than their competitors because we're not doing a manual process like the lawn care company. We're not calling and manually setting up interviews. We use a process to our recruiting. And this is it's actually called a recruitment flywheel, not a profit flywheel. I need to change the name of this. My husband wanted to name it profit. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. It's about recruiting. So here, this is how we manage. This is how everything we look at, and this is how everything I teach you. Here is the actual drawing of it. And so essentially it's the same flywheel that you just saw. And what I teach is, and here's where everybody's coming in. So if you're coming in and you have a meeting with me, you either have an unclear offer, like you don't know how to get applicants to come through the door. You don't know how to get enough, right? And that's that's right here. This is that process, our impressions, our clicks, and our applies. Or you don't have delivery confidence. You don't know how to do an interview. You don't know how to set it up. You're still doing one-to-one interviews. You don't know how to offer fast. Or you have an issue with commitment. They're falling off. They're not finishing training or taking onboarding, or you're not keeping them for culture. And so we have trainings on all of this. WootRecruit is involved from impressions to clicks to applies into shows, right? To scheduled into shows. And WootRecruit starts to fall off at offers and accepts. And that's where my coaching and training, we have modules inside. You have training for all of how you do this. It's a little bit big, but essentially that's our goal is to get more employees. And I'm going to show you kind of how we do that in the hub since I explained that in the hub. That's where you log in. That creates the speed and scalability that you're looking for. This is a snapshot of the hub. You always have a update, what's going on. You have your metrics here. Remember I said clicks, applies, scheduled, path. You're going to see all your metrics down here. They're also delivered to you every week to your inbox. The training that I said was all around employees. It's all inside here. Organized, I give you transcripts, I give you guides to follow step by step. I give you downloads of how to implement all this into your company. Here's a high level view of the applicant's journey of applied, showed, passed, your bench, if you want to build your bench, offered. This is a self-moving board. You don't move it.
Okay, thank you.
The applicant moves it based off of where they're at in the pipeline, where they're at in the journey. An example is scheduled, showed. How does it automatically know that they showed up? Well, if you're doing in-person interviews, you're going to have a QR code, and the applicant will scan it to timestamp their arrival, and it's automatically going to mark them as showed. If you mark them like a bench inside their profile, it'll automatically go to bench. If you give them an offer, it automatically moves them based off the buttons you're touching or where the candidate is moving about in the pipeline.
Do you have a leader that'll tell me what all those little tabs mean? Like what bench means, what scheduled is, I mean, pretty obvious, but like all those little tabs, like what they mean and what goes there.
So it automatically goes there. You won't put nothing there.
I don't put anything in there.
No, it's where they're moving through our process. You're watching them. You're watching them almost in real time move through the process.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. It's more of a visual board. This is something we just rolled out. It looks kind of bare because I was trying to find an example last minute. We just launched it not that long ago, and it is onboarding. So you can track onboarding now from prep to start onboarding to your orientation to day 1, day 2. And this is, I'll show you another picture. It goes all the way to 90 days. And this is nothing but tracking like the office's to-dos. Like, did I give them a uniform? Did they sign the handbook? Did I get a picture of their driver's license? And it's tracking your applicant through the whole onboarding journey, back to 90 days when they're now eligible for like benefits or they're out of that probational period.
Okay.
Our recruitment Sherpas is what we're the most known for. And those are our done for you account managers. They manage your account, they manage your posting, your reposting, they manage your Indeed account. They manage the volume that you get. They send you this email every week, and it's a rolling 4 weeks of your performance. So this is actually a picture of Debbie Sardone's report. And so like in 4 weeks, she did 133 interviews and she hired 14 people. It cost her $49 a hire. So you're not going to find any place as cheap as us for hiring for volume. Here
Can I ask a
is,
question?
yep.
Is there an Indeed fee associated with this?
Yes, we're not there yet. I'll get right there. So the hiring health check comes with your email, and your account manager is going to let you know how's your job ad performing. Do you have enough spots available in the interview? Because sometimes we run into this like, hey, I need to hire, but I'm busy. I only have 1 day a week to hire. Well, if you're pushing or you're sponsoring on Indeed, you need to be hiring multiple times a week, not just one. And so we're going to tell you like if it's in line with your goals, do you have enough days? And here's the budget. Like Debbie's spending $688 and she's a $4 million company. That's her Indeed budget. So we'll go over the Indeed budget here in a second when I get to pricing. You get a biweekly call with your account manager to go over quality, volume, posting, like, hey, I need to change my interview slots. I don't want to do 10 and 12 on Mondays. I want to just do 12. Our account management or recruitment Sherpa save you about 8 to 10 hours of work a week when it comes to recruiting. If you were to hire someone, this is what it would cost you. But for that 8 to 10 hours, but they don't have the software, they don't have the processes, they don't have the skills or the knowledge to do it. So you'd still have to train them and do all that. So we're by far much cheaper. So we had the hub, we had our account managers, which are Sherpas, our guides, and then we have our practices. And our practices are our trainings. There's modules, and we have our employees that get more employees, where we were talking about that flywheel. We have our new customer onboarding. It's like literally a bunch of teeny little tiny modules that all equal 20 minutes on the new customer onboarding, because I know we don't have time. So I try to make everything short and fast. And then we have our HR drive. Remember, I said you don't need to bring anything. I don't need you to prepare. I've tried to do everything possible to make sure it's here for you on a silver platter, because that's how I want things. So inside our HR drive, we have hundreds of documents, whether you need like a maternity leave to a PIP plan to a handbook, it's all in there, and they're all federally compliant forms or documents. Our pricing is, we have a bunch of different plans. We have our base plan, which is essentially our software only. You get everything I talked about except for the account manager. You would be managing your own Indeed account. But you get our software, our processes, you get the access to the trainings in the hub, you get access to automations. Again, everything but the person managing your Indeed account and your calendar. Our recruitment Sherpas is our old Grow plan. It's the exact same thing. It's just I named it after them and thought I wanted to give them a little ego boost. So I named the plan after the Sherpas. They love it, but that's our account management. That's about what 80% of our customers go with, is our account management plan. And then we have our elevation plan. This is for larger companies of about over 2 million who have an in-house HR person, but they just need us to set it up, and they want us to coach the HR person, where I would come in and coach the HR person on how to use it and how to recruit cleaning technicians or technicians in the field, whether it's lawn care, cleaning, power washing. We do about 25 different industries. Our bread and butter, what we're great at, is frontline W-2 employees. We don't do ICs. We don't do independent contractors. We do mid-level hires, but those are add-ons. So like you're like, hey, I need a scheduler or I want a sales rep. Great, we can do that. No problem. Yeah. But what we're known for is cleaning, landscaping, lawn care, roofing, labor technicians. Price is for our software only plan, it was the $149. And for our Sherpa plan, our account managers, it was the $399. You have 2 more additional fees that you have to think about, and that is Indeed. And we ask you to start with $150 to $200 Indeed budget. Only because every location is different. Demographics, demand, how sexy is your job? That's going to really influence the volume, and we got to kind of see that and play with it to get the volume you're looking for. And then you can adjust your Indeed budget month to month with your account manager.
Is that 150 to 200 Indeed budget a month or a day?
Month.
Okay.
A day that's a lot.
Well, like my Indeed budget, I think set up to like, because I was using someone who is not your competitor at all, trust me, but it was a different company, and my Indeed budget was set at $5 a day. So I wasn't sure if it was like a daily thing, you know?
Nope, it's 100 to 200 a month, and then we'll go from there, and you can adjust. You can go down, you can go up. It's up to you. And then we do have some text fees that occur because, again, in the beginning I said we use Folio because we know applicants do not check their text messages, and our whole process, workflows, automations are built with a text with a text number. What we do is we get you the text number. We'll do the A2P compliance for you. You just have to give us the information. Again, we are as much done for you as we can get. We'll get you a local number, so it legitimizes your company. It's local to your area, but they can't call it, so don't worry. You don't have to man another number. It'll just get forwarded to your office phone if they call it. And this is what currently we see people spending. So again, this is like Debbie's company. She's spending $55 a month. $1 million company spending $20, and then a $750,000 company spending about $13 on those tech fees. So if we go back, we have either your $149 plan or your $399 plan. You have your Indeed cost and that text. And there is a one-time A2P fee, I don't know if you see it here, of $22 because we have to register it and get the number. And the A2P fee doesn't go to me, it goes to the government. So and that's a requirement for automations using text numbers. If you decide to go with us, I'm almost done, by the way. If you decide to go with us, it takes about 7 days to go live. What would happen from here, we would need to gain access to your Indeed account. No matter if you go with what plan you go with, we have to get access to your Indeed account. And we have to scrub it and clean it. It's kind of like when you hire a Google AdWords person, they got to go in and clean it and get it optimized and running at peak performance. And then we'd ask you to fill out a couple forms. We need to know your goals, like what are you trying to achieve, so that we can adjust the volume of applicants to those goals. Because if you're like only trying to hit 500,000, then it's a different level of volume or effort than saying someone that's 3 million. And you would work, we have a customer success onboarding specialist. Her name is Eliani, and she would guide you, handhold you through the entire process. And then you are assigned also to our lead account manager that would make sure that your account is optimized and running very well. One thing that we do is market analysis of your area. And that's just, it's like a competitor analysis we're taught to go and call our competitors, see what their hourly rate is, what are they charging. We do the same thing for the jobs. We run a market analysis. We don't call your competitors, but we have the tools and technology to see, okay, what's the going rate in, Fort Myers for a lawn care technician? And then also, what are some of the common benefits, and what are the titles that we should be using